So I didn't really know what to call this video, but I guess it's kind of like a review. So with that out of the way, hope y'all enjoy this little intro that I made.
Cause every night I will save your life, and every night I will be with you. Cause every night I still lay awake and I dream of that solution.
So I just finished Deltarune chapters 1 and 2, and I'm just gonna jump right into the things that I liked. The music goes without saying, amazing. The character development, the general fun factor, the variety of characters and the mechanics, the mysteries, the potential for replays with the secret bosses and such. So that's just an overall idea of what I liked about the game, but I'm gonna try to get a little bit more specific here. So, for example, the minigames and the puzzles aren't too difficult for me, which is great because I played games like Uncharted, where I just kind of looked up the solution sometimes. So I didn't have to do that here, but someone in my stream actually helped me with some of the puzzles in Chapter 1. So shout out to Salt_Consumer. I also just really love how weird the game is. I remember searching for games like Earthbound immediately after finishing the game and playing Mother 3. After that I searched for games like Mother 3, and Undertale and Deltarune came up. I was like, if I didn't really care too much for Undertale because I played that so many years ago and didn't get far at all, I probably wouldn't like Deltarune. So I put it off for a long time and just listened to the music. Then Deltarune Chapter 5 came out, and I saw a clip of some sword slashing, some jumping, platforming, and I was like, maybe I should, actually check it out. After that, I made a video on TikTok mentioning how much I liked the music of Deltarune, and then people told me I should just play it, so I did. And it was easily one of the best decisions I ever made. And this game really has everything. I mean, a versatile soundtrack, the funny moments, the unique mechanics, the variety of characters and ways to battle, and it will also make you cry a bit too. Like, for example, seeing Rossay get so happy and being really sweet kind of brought a tear to my eye. Even Birdley's backstory made me kind of sad too. Also, his name is kind of crazy. Two birds had a baby and pretty much didn't get creative at all with the name. Like Birdley, that's like Noelle being called Deirdly, or Chris being named Humanly or something, or Susie being called Barney. But going back to the sad moments, like when I thought Lancer was a goner, I thought he was done for, my eyes started watering up. And now I'm just gonna jump into the things that I didn't really like about the chapters. So the main thing I didn't like, and I don't know if this was the case in Undertale, and not to say that this was game breaking or, oh man, I hate the game for this. It was just some characters talk way too much for my liking. So a few are annoying, but I know not every character is going to be chill. So it's kind of like in real life. Not everyone is going to vibe well with me. And, it's not the end of the world. They definitely going to be yapping and might even make you cringe and maybe even just be so random you don't know what the hell just happened. And that's just a personal thing for me. I like to be able to just dive into a game and figure things out without having to, click through a bunch of dialogue and stuff like that. But for these types of games, when it's done well, it just adds on to the overall enjoyment for the player. And once again, just a personal thing. My favorite types of games are the open world RPGs, things like that. Maybe there's an intro, you toss me in there and I can just go off and climb mountains or try to fight a boss that I'm under leveled for if I want to, or find some rare items, craft, and things like that. So it's not really trying to take too much of a jab at the game, but it's just my preference is throw me in the game and let me figure everything out. But if I'm gonna bring up the characters that were talking a bit too much, honestly, I did not like Rules or Queen that much. They definitely had their funny moments though, but they were kind of just trying a bit too hard to be funny, and I think that just it adds to their charm. But there were times where I'm just gonna kind of click through your dialogue, and for Rules, I didn't even want to read it out loud. It's just the way that he spoke, it was just kind of annoying. So once again, It's just that's 2 characters out of the tons of characters that are in there, so not a big deal at all. And now I'm just going to get into sort of the random thoughts and things that I had, and I probably should have included this in the what I liked section, but my favorite music tracks are Hip Shop, Don't Forget, Faint Glow, Field of Hopes and Dreams, Lantern, Welcome to the City, and Until Next Time. But let's go ahead and get into the random thoughts. So for me, I do want to visit the dark world. I just wouldn't want to necessarily live there. It does seem like a lot of fun and, better than the overworld. It seems like it's kind of boring and just the, everyday typical small town life. But the dark world is wild and crazy and you don't know what's going to happen. And yeah, it seems like Chris, Susie, and Ross, they just had fun there. They went on the rides, bumper cars, Ferris wheel, teacups. It was great. Another random thought I had. So speaking of Susie, she tries to look scary, but honestly, most of the time she just ends up looking kind of goofy. And since we're talking about the team, I'm hoping at one point we can have like a 5-party team or something. Like we had Noelle in the party, and I think we were just missing Birdley, but that would be pretty cool to have a full-on battle, like a 5-on-5 battle, or they all fight a boss or something like that. Let's see, what else do we have? As soon as I got to chapter 2, a few people on like YouTube and TikTok were trying to get me to basically attack all the characters with Noelle and do the weird route. But I'll be honest, it felt wrong. Didn't really interest me to have her do like some bad things. Like she was clearly struggling with standing up for herself and speaking up. So to kind of push her around even more, just kind of gross, to be honest. And let's see, I talked to Sans at the end of chapter 1. And I was kind of surprised to see him because I thought he was the ultimate like bad guy from Undertale, but he just kind of hanging out in the overworld, and he was trying to give me to babysit for him or something like that. So I didn't even talk to him in chapter 2. I just skipped right past his place. This probably should have gone in the what I liked section, but that weird bunker in the overworld plays those creepy sounds, and honestly I do love things like that, so I hope we get to explore that in the next chapter or something. And speaking of the scary things, I do see a strong case for this game to have like a horror side and just more spooky elements, because they did it really well. Even at the beginning of chapter 1, when we first get to the dark world, it's like it felt like the place was sleeping in a way. Nothing was really going on. And then once we started to get further and further into it, it kind of came to life. And then we met Lantern and all that good stuff. So I really like that because it reminded me of Super Metroid. Since I only played a little bit of Undertale, I do feel like I'm missing out on some things, but to be honest, I had years to catch up and just now get into it. So I'm still enjoying Deltarune though. And since I've been uploading these Deltarune videos and listening to the music, I have been getting a lot of Deltarune like related things in my feed. And I try to just scroll past them without getting spoiled, but I'll be honest, it's just how it goes when the game is popular. You're going to see a bunch of things. And this last little thought I had honestly should have just gone in the what I like section too, but the relationships I see building up with the characters kind of reminds me of when I was in high school, which is pretty cool. I really do hope things work out for Noelle and Susie because I think they can learn a lot from each other. And I think we already saw a little bit of that where Noelle was admiring Susie for pretty much just being herself. And I think that brings some more depth to the characters and just makes it a little bit more meaningful. And speaking of relationships, I do like how certain things are just normalized in this world. So like their relationship, Chris's pronouns being they, them, it's not a big deal. That's just, honestly, I think how it should be in real life. And while we're on that subject, I think the overall writing of the game is great. I absolutely love it. And the people that made this are very, very talented. And this last one, let's see, it's kind of long. What was I even talking about here? So Chris seems to have some sort of sickness. At the end of chapter 2, they're just walking around like a zombie. So I think they're having trouble with their feelings or something like that because they keep trying to lock their heart away. And then they dug into the ground and made black smoke come out. So I wonder if it's like a dream or another quick explanation, like how chapter 2 started. And Chris was just hungry. They really wanted some pie, I think. But regardless of that, I think the message is that Chris needs to learn how to deal with their feelings instead of trying to run away because it seems like they're just hurting themselves in the end. And another random thing is that since I started playing the game and posted my gameplay and stuff, the community has just been super, super nice and helpful. I've had, a couple people spoil some things like, let's see, a couple plot points for chapter 5. I think it was like the boss. and something that happens in there. And then someone spoiled, I think it was the chapter 4 secret boss. And I just thought that, I know people try to help out. They're very passionate about the game. They can't wait to talk about it with someone, especially with someone who's new to the series and it's been out for a long time. And I know things are gonna just come out. They may not think it's a big deal. I know I got into it late, so I fully expect to get spoiled. Not to say, come through to my comments and just spoil everything, then just ruining the experience for me. But someone warned me on TikTok, like, hey, some people in the community like to backseat game and they like to just spoil stuff. So try to stay away from the comments. But it kind of is like a flashbang. Some of these comments, boom, this happens, this happens, this happens. Like, okay, not even a warning. But I'm still enjoying the game regardless. And now on to the questions. And I'll start off with one I got on YouTube from someone named I Need Sleep 1111. They just simply asked me who is my favorite character so far. And without a doubt, that has to be Rosse. He has just been super nice from the get-go. Seems like he knows a lot and has everyone's best interest at heart. I do like how they're pretty much teaching us. They're like a tutorial, or they're really like a guide, and just helping you figure out the game mechanics too, which is cool. Instead of just, oh, here's a cutaway to the tutorial and hope you remember throughout the rest of the game. At the same time, I want to say Birdly too. He had some great character development. Yeah, he started off on the wrong side of things, but in the end, he apologized and he realized he isn't as smart as he thinks. And we discovered it's pretty much all an act, and that's tough. And he's one of the most realistic characters because he reminds me of a few people that I used to know. I think he's actually a really important character because I know quite a few people like Birdly, and if they were to see him in the game, they might be looking right at a mirror and they might even do some self-reflection, because even Birdly was able to apologize for what he did and make some changes and come through in the end and help out in chapter 2. I mean, he's not completely changed, but he's making some progress, and that's what makes him even more realistic. He didn't just completely turn over a whole new leaf and just change his personality. He still has his faults. But yeah, thanks for asking that question, and I only have a couple of them, to be quite honest. And let's see, how can Chris take out their heart and survive? Isn't it protecting them? I don't know what's going on with that, but maybe we'll see what's going on in chapter 3. Noelle and Birdly are the only ones who joined us in the Dark World. How is it that Alphys, Torio, and other characters haven't gone there on purpose or by accident, walking into the wrong bathroom stall at the school or something? I'm sure we'll probably get more into that in the next chapter too. But it definitely adds that whimsy, that fun factor, and just that kind of random weirdness. Like I said, I love that with Earthbound and Mother 3. Not everything needs to be perfectly explained. Just let me kind of be blown away a little bit and just wonder. And yeah, I'm definitely excited to get back to the game and continue on to chapter 3. So I hope you enjoyed this little sort of review video for Deltarune chapter 1 and 2 from the perspective of someone who hasn't played Undertale really, an indie developer who also makes RPGs, and just someone who's kind of late to the series too. Overall, love the game. During my stream, I'm just like, this is an 11 out of 10 game, and it's honestly one of my favorites already. So I'm really, really excited to get into chapter 3. But other than that, thanks for all the support. I really appreciate everyone here and on TikTok. And I'll see you guys in the next one.